So, I've been wanting to build a Baldurden or Paladin Bard multiclass for a while because honestly it's just such a fun concept for a build that I've had a lot of fun playing with over the past few weeks. We're going to get a lot of really fun elements in this build. We're going to get a great spellcaster, we're going to get a great melee combatant, we're going to be a great party support, we're going to be a great party face. We're seriously just going to get a lot done here. So the past few videos I've sort of done builds that can go on the different companions. This isn't really one of those. It doesn't really fit thematically for any of them. I do have builds coming up, or videos coming up soon showing builds for the remaining companions, so don't worry, they are coming. Leave a comment down below which one you want to hear first. I also do promise to start making videos involving bards in the build but it's hard. Bards are just so good. It honestly might be the best class in the game. Personally, it's amazing. So before we jump in game, look at this build. I want to say first of all, this is one of those builds that you really should respec into around level 8. Reason being, you want to rush to level 5 or 6 with these classes, Paladin or Bard respectively, to get extra attack. For any melee character, that's what you want to go for first. You don't really want to multi-class around in the first 5 or 6 levels because you want to get to that as soon as possible. Optimally for this build, you don't want to do that, so I would say go pure Paladin or Bard until level 8 and then respec and then follow this guide from there. I would probably choose Bard to go for your first 8 levels, just because it's such a good class on its own anyway. It gives you expertise and all those skill proficiencies early on, plus all of the sort of party face skills and stuff like that, and it's the most similar in play style to what we're going to be using here anyway. So let's get in game and get into it. So I'll cover race and background choices first. I don't like to do my build videos picking a specific race, specific background. I think you should be able to pick whatever you like there. Perhaps you might want to pick a background that gives you sleight of hand, just because that's a really useful thing to have on this build. We'll get more on that later on, but generally I think you can pick whatever you want for the character you want to build. I think that's quite important in this game. We'll cover ability scores first. I would go with, let's just get these back to normal. So I'd put a couple in strength, 16 dexterity, 14 con, and 16 charisma, and then put the other 2 in wisdom. That's how I would run these ability scores personally. Your dexterity is going to be for your melee, because we're going to be using dual wielding finesse weapons, and our charisma is for our spell casting. So that's what I would pick here. And then as far as skills we can pick, we have a decent choice here. I would go with intimidation and persuasion, just because they're the ones that we have a high bonus in already, so we get the most out of picking those skill proficiencies. So Paladin is one of those classes which is super front loaded, which means you get most of, if not all of, the features that you really want out of the class right at the start. So with this, with our first 2 levels, obviously we get our Oath with our first level, where we get Inquisitor's Might, which is obviously honestly, you could kind of pick any of these if you really want to but we're only going to get 2 levels in Paladin on this build, so we're only going to get this first ability with any of these. So you could pick what you like, to be honest, for the Paladin subclass. And then as we go to level up, we're going to get our 2nd level in Paladin, which is kind of where we get most of what we want out of Paladin actually. So for fighting style, we're going defense. We're going to get our great weapon fighting style with Bard anyway, so we don't need that right here, and also we don't get the defense option with Bard either, so that's an important one to note. As far as what we actually get from picking Paladin here, we get Divine Smite, which is the main thing we want here, because the cool thing about Divine Smite is it doesn't scale with your Paladin levels, which is nice. Actually, it scales basically with what spell slots you have available, and we're going to have actually much better spell slots available to us, much more of them and higher level than a Paladin would anyway. So yeah, Divine Smite's going to be absolutely great for us. As far as prepared spells, this is a tough one because we are not going to really want to be using too many of our spell slots, because we want to be saving those for our Divine Smites. So these are some tough choices here. I would just pick the Smites first of all. Command is always useful, and then maybe Bless, but Like I said, you're not really going to be wanting to use Bless very often. Yeah, there's not really any good choices here for Paladin for spells, to be honest, for this build specifically. So, but we've got what we wanted here. We've got heavy armor proficiency. We've got smites. We have a defense fighting style for more AC. We have all of this stuff, which is all really nice. So we've got our 2 levels in Paladin. It's time to go over to Bard, which is where our build really starts to take off. So we get some more interesting choices. For our cantrips, first of all, I would recommend Friends, because we can basically just spam that in every dialogue and just give us advantage on every dialogue skill check, which is obviously really useful. Light is another good pick here, but if you've already got somebody else to cast Light in your party, then you could skip on that and get Vicious Mockery instead. Minor Illusion is also a grey one. Mage Hand's okay. You know, we're gonna get plenty of cantrip choices. But I'm not going to cover cantrips on every level that we get cantrips now, because basically everything I've just said, those cantrips are the ones you want to pick. Spells. We want to pick the spells that are ritual casts, because we want to save as many of our spell slots as possible in combat for our Divine Smites and for some more specific spells that we get later. So, Speak with Animals, Featherfall, Disguise Self, Long Strider, they're all things that we can cast outside of combat as a ritual, so that they don't use our spell slots. And then skill proficiency, this is a tough one, right? So we get Intimidation and Persuasion already. There's a choice here. We can either go Deception, just round out our dialogue skills here, or we can go Sleight of Hand, because we have pretty high dexterity. And, you know, if you don't have a Starian in your party to handle all the lockpicking and the stealth, and you want to do it, great option. You know, we are going to be using heavy armor, so stealth, disadvantage, whatever, but if it's a high enough bonus, we should be able to do pretty okay with stealth checks anyway. But for me, anyway, personally, it's really the lockpicking stuff that really gets this going. I always tend to do this in my videos, where I just brandish a pen or something. It's this comb that I've got on my desk that I did last time. I always just shake this at you like I'm fucking Voldemort or something. Anyway, level 4, we're going Bard 2. We don't have too much to pick here. We have another spell choice, which, you know, we've picked all of the ritual spells already. There's not really a correct pick here, just pick your favourite. I think Thunderwave's a good choice, just in case you have the opportunity to throw a bunch of enemies off a cliff all at once. It's quite fun. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is a good one. Fairy Fire is a good one. I would probably avoid ones that you want to concentrate on though, because we want to save our concentration for some other really good spells that we get to choose pretty later on. But, you know, we're not going to be there until, if you're playing this as you level, like as you play, you're not going to get those other spells that you want to be concentrating on until quite late on, like level 12. So, you know, you might be alright concentrating on other stuff for now. Level 5, Bard 3. This is where things start to heat up. First off, we get another spell. We get second level spells here, which is nice. I would go with Detect Thoughts, because that's the level 2 pick there as a ritual spell, which, same as before, we want to save our spell slots. For our subclass, we're not going College of Law, we're going College of Swords. The combination of flourishes that we get here, plus our smites, is going to be a really potent thing. As for fighting style, like I mentioned, we're going 2-weapon fighting here, so that's an easy pick. We also get to pick 2 skills. We can get expertise in here, which is super cool. So there's 3 skills here that I think are really good choices. So Intimidation, Persuasion, and Sleight of Hand. All fantastic options. I would probably go with Persuasion and Sleight of Hand out of those 3, but you can pick wherever you like, to be honest. That's mostly because I don't like having a Starian in my party. But if you do, you already have somebody with a high Sleight of Hand, so just ignore that and go for something else. Whenever I say Sleight of Hand, pick something else. At level 6, Bard 4, we get a feat. I would pick an ability score improvement here for Dexterity, just to bump that up to 18, because that's always going to be useful. Another cantrip, you get another spell. Silence is one that you can cast as a ritual out of combat, but its usefulness in that scenario is a little bit limited, so you might just want to go for something else here. Perhaps, you know, see invisibility. Yeah, probably see invisibility. You're not going to use that too often, but when you use it, that's going to be useful. So at level 7, Bard 5, we get another spell pick. Again, we get 3rd level spells here. The only one that is a ritual cast is Speak with Dead, so that's got what we're going to pick here. That's what we're going to pick. And finally, character level 8, Bard 6. This is why we want to respec at level 8, so that we can get this right here. We get extra attack with this level. So this is when the build really starts sort of, I don't know, activates, gets good, you know. Again, we get another spell pick here, but there's not really too much going on. So next at Bard 7, get another spell pick. We get level 4 spells now. There are no ritual spells here, though Dimension Door and Freedom of Movement are both decent picks. I'll pick Dimension Door here. Character level 10, Bard 8. Again, another spell here. Pick your favourite. There's really nothing too important to this build that you can pick here. Probably go for one of the lower level ones, you know, maybe Healing Word, just because we want to be saving our higher level spell slots for high level smites. So we want to have more lower level spells than we do high level spells. The feat choice here, there are honestly quite a few options we can choose from here. Another ability score improvement is a good choice to bump our dexterity all the way up to 20. Alert is always a good choice just to make sure we go first in combat every time. Dual Wielder is a good pick if you wanted to dual wield 2 long swords or something, though if you're going to pick that, I would probably recommend you respec at level 10 so that you can, instead of going dexterity, to focus on strength instead. That way, you know, you get the longsword damage. Lucky is always a good choice as well. Savage Attack It is also a good one on this build. But probably what I would go for is either the ability score improvement or Warcaster. Now, Warcaster isn't too important right now, but when we get to level 12, there's going to be some good spells we want to be concentrating on. So that, I would recommend Warcaster or an ability score improvement to increase our dex. At Bard 9, we get level 5 spells, but honestly, save those slots for smites. The level 5 spells we get here are really not that good. Just pick another level 1 spell and be happy that you have 5th level smites now. And finally, level 12, Bard level 10. This is where we get some really cool stuff. So first of all, we get another 2 expertises. So we can pick the face skill we didn't get before, which is great. And I would probably pick Perception here, because I got Perception from the race choice. Perception's always a good pick for basically every build, just to make sure you don't miss out on those passive checks. Cantrip, we get another cantrip choice here, blah blah blah. Spell choice, more of the same, just pick something. And then probably my favourite feature of Bard, Magical Secrets. There are honestly so many good choices here. I'm going to cover a lot of them really quick. I'm going to rapid fire some of these. Honestly, just pick your 2 favourites, because there are really so many good choices here. I mean, we're looking at every spell basically in the game, so there's obviously going to be a lot of good choices. But first of all, Fireball. Everyone loves Fireball. It's a great offensive pick. I think you're going to be more inclined to be in melee on this build, but it's hard to say no to Fireball. Spirit Guardians, this is really good here, and is probably the pick I would recommend the most, especially if we picked Warcaster, because it's really going to help you pump out a ton of damage, because you're going to be in melee in range of the enemies anyway. So Haste, everyone loves Haste. Everyone knows Haste is excellent. I would hope you have someone else in your party that's dedicated to hasting, but having more people in your party that can cast Haste is not a bad thing. Warden of Vitality. I've been raving about this spell for the past couple of videos. It was the main focus of my Bard Cleric multiclass I talked about in the video. If you use this build with this spell in combination with that build, and you have 2 people that could be pumping the spell out, the other build possibly twice if you checked out the short I did to update that video, you could be pumping out a ton of damage on your bonus actions. The one thing that is not so good about this spell on this build is that you'll obviously be using your bonus actions to do the healing, and you kind of want to be using your bonus actions for your offhand attacks. But still, if you're in a dire situation and you need to pump out a ton of healing, Warden of Vitality is great. Honourable mentions really quick for some others. I'm going to rapid fire some of these. Counterspell, Lightning Bolt, Pass Without Trace, Sanctuary, Magic Missile, Blur, Slow, Mass Healing Word, Arms of Adar. Honestly, the list kind of goes on here when you're talking about good spells for every spellbook in the game. So I could honestly keep going, but pick any of those 2 and you'll be really happy with it. Like I said, Spirit Guardians is probably the one that fits the best on this build, and it's super nice to have up in melee. So that's the build. Regarding equipment, the best swords and armor are what you're going to be looking for, which sounds pretty self-explanatory, but you know, a good choice for weapon early on as one of your weapons is Phalar Alluve from the Underdark. It's a longsword with the finesse property. It's also a good one full stop, just because its ability, the action you get with it is super good as well. And like any other melee build, the gloves that have bonuses to damage, like the Helldusk or Dark Justicia gloves, are great options too. There's not really a particular piece of equipment that activates or enables this build, which is what I prefer for builds in this game. Builds that entirely revolve around one armor or weapon are all well and good to use in Act 3 when those items are probably going to be available, but what about the rest of the game? What about the other 80 hours of your playthrough? That's when you need a build like this that actually works at all points of the playthrough, whether you have the best weapons and armor or not, and it's fun the whole time. If you like the build, I'd really appreciate you leaving a like on the video. That'd be amazing. Leave a comment down below what other videos you want to see. You know, Baldur's Gate, it's a great game, but I'm thinking maybe there's some other games I want to make some videos on. I'm not sure which games, sorry. So if you've got any ideas for what you want to see, let me know. Maybe some games I haven't played. I was thinking maybe streaming some retro games, or just some games that I haven't played. You know, there's been a long time where I've basically just played Call of Duty for a while, so there's a lot of games like Spider-Man and Cyberpunk and all that stuff that I haven't really played too much. So if there's anything like that you're interested in seeing, let me know. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be great too. If you like the video, if you want to see the streams here as well, that'd be great. At the time you're watching this, I will have just been married and I will currently be on my honeymoon, so I'm not here at the minute. At the time of recording this, I am actually getting married in a few days, so congratulations to me, I guess. Long-time viewers of the channel might also notice that the landlords finally came and painted the wall up here, so it's no longer a fucking brown horrible mess, which is great. Good job, landlords. And other than that, just enjoy your day, everybody.